And that's money that goes to fire, police, even trash pickup. Another thing affecting cities, COVID, something every voter knows.
What everything orbits around right now is the pandemic.
Many hope the state will throw a little more financial help to local governments to administer the COVID vaccine. Then there's just growth in appraisals, in taxes, in neighborhoods, making Killeen almost a bedroom community of Austin. Also updating water, sewer, and roads in the city's older neighborhoods. And one more important growth issue.
The other big thing that for our area that we're saying it's going to have tremendous growth is our education.
And by that, he means A&M Central Texas, which gets bigger and more important by the day. But much of what may happen in any of these important areas hinges on what lawmakers do at the Capitol. Killeen hopes to see an easing of the burden of those unfunded mandates. So cities like Killeen say, well, many agree on the value of those mandates, making a relative few pay for it. Well, that creates a burden for everyone inside those city limits where they have to do that. We're live at the Texas State Capitol tonight. Dennis Turner, 25 News. Back to you.
Dennis, thank you. Thousands of bills are filed ahead of this year's legislature, but there are a few big ones on many people's minds right now. First, marijuana legalization. Second, alcohol to-go sales. Third, banning police from signing reality TV contracts. And lastly, the George Floyd Act.
As legislators got to work inside, some Texas citizens were gathering outside the Capitol. 25 News reporter Sierra Shipley is live to walk us through what people are saying. Sierra?
Todd, Naya, everything from marijuana to coronavirus and education will be talked about in these legislative sessions. And the big topics on many minds this afternoon were legalizing marijuana and coronavirus mask mandates. Advocating for what they believe.
I'm here to fight for medical freedom and autonomy.
Looking to move the needle forward on cannabis legalization in the state of Texas.
No matter the cause, they're making sure their voices are heard. Lori Jean fighting for the right not to wear a mask.
The legislators to be aware that they have taken our constitutional rights and they have stripped the people. We're now being forced to wear masks, mask our children in order to work.
And Jesse Williams is fighting a long-time battle of legalizing marijuana.
To move the needle forward, not just for people, but economically in this state.
Supporters get excited for the biennial event because it gives them a bigger voice.
Speaking out online or sending a letter, which aren't bad things, they're definitely great things for people to do. But being able to show up in person shows just how serious this is.
For Jean, today is about handling the coronavirus pandemic in a way she and others believe is safe.
Our group is not anti-vaccine. We're pro-autonomy. I am fighting for choice in medicine. I don't think you should be forced to wear a mask. I don't think you should be forced to take a vaccine.
Over the next 140 days, Jean and Williams will be listening and waiting eagerly until change is made. And you might have noticed in that video the number of guards that are surrounding the entrances to the Capitol. There's even some still out behind me. Up at 6, I'll let you know how those guards impacted the ones advocating out earlier this afternoon. Live at the Texas State Capitol, Sierra Shipley, 25 News.
Sierra, thank you. As you just saw, their security at the Capitol is certainly beefed up this year. Earlier today, a small group of armed protesters gathered at the front entrance to the building. The Texas Department of Public Safety said in a statement concerning their overall strategy, quote, while we do not discuss operational specifics, DPS will continue to adjust our operations as needed to maintain public order and address potential threats. According to an FBI bulletin, armed protests could happen at all 50 state capitals starting this weekend and go through Inauguration Day next week. Law enforcement are telling local police to prepare for protests with increased security measures at state houses and other governmental buildings.
House lawmakers are expected to take a vote today on a resolution calling on Vice President Mike Pence and a majority of the Trump cabinet to invoke the 25th Amendment. Now, if this doesn't happen, the House is expected to vote as soon as tomorrow to impeach the president. This all happening as President Trump spent the day in South Texas visiting the border town of Alamo. He spoke at what was his first appearance since last week's violent and deadly breach at the U.S. Capitol. Most of the president's remarks focusing on his agenda to build a wall along the southern border and enforce stricter border policies. Well, it was a pretty chilly day this morning, but it did warm up a little bit. Let's get a first check on our weather with Chief Meteorologist Matt Hines. Matt?
And we are tracking clouds right now, Naya, as we are seeing those clouds roll in across the region, and that will continue here over the next several hours as a disturbance off to the west of you folks in San Saba, will continue to lift across the area. Unfortunately, if you're looking for any rain or snow out of this one, it's probably not going to do much, as we are seeing a pretty dry atmosphere below the cloud base. And we are not going to be expecting any wintry precipitation out of this, but there are a few echoes out there, a lot more bark than bite with this. And what you see here is basically evaporating before reaching the ground. A few sprinkles and a couple light showers. I can't rule out some of it making down to the surface, but a lot of this will be above the surface. We can see that on our Extraco Eagle Eye looking here on Highway 6. You can see the cloud bases right here. You can see some of that feathery rain starting to fall from that, and snow as well up above, but it evaporates before it gets down here and can't do much for us. Temperatures are well above freezing, so we don't have anything to worry about there. Into the 40s and 50s right now, and we will continue to see a decent evening out there with temperatures dropping through the 40s into the 30s. As those clouds clear after midnight, it'll probably be another night of freezing temperatures. Then we will have a warming trend for tomorrow into Thursday. More on that coming up.
All right, Matt, thank you. A psychiatric 911 call turns deadly, and now an investigation is underway. Coming up, we'll learn more about what a psychiatric call can mean and what happened that led to the deadly force.
Plus, mass vaccination centers popping up across the entire state, including 2 right here in Central Texas. A weekend officer-involved shooting call stemming from a mental health call is still under investigation by the Texas Rangers in Killeen. Tonight, Leah McNeil has more.
At this point, all we have is the dispatch audio from Sunday's incident, painting a patchy picture of what happened. Many people have taken to social media expressing their anger and frustration with KPD surrounding this incident. But Dr. Tammy Bracewell, professor of criminal justice at A&M Central Texas, says it's important not to jump to conclusions when we don't know everything. Dr. Bracewell tells me all police officers have to go through a 40-hour crisis response training that covers everything from how to respond to an individual having a mental breakdown to a situation involving narcotics. Bracewell explains no matter how much training an officer receives, each situation is different.
And so it's really the unknown and the difference between dealing with someone who is in their right frame of mind and someone who is not. And that and how you navigate that, because how you navigate it for one person may be completely different from what works for another person.
After listening to the clip of the dispatch audio, Bracewell tells me that it sounds like the officer was trying to de-escalate the situation that triggered the initial 911 call and then asked dispatch to contact a family member. But for reasons unknown, things changed. Coming up at 6, I'll have more from the dispatch audio, Dr. Bracewell, and a clinical mental health professional to explain the complexities of working with those who have a mental illness. Reporting in Killeen, Leah McNeil, 25 News.
Leah, thank you. That officer is now on administrative leave. It's important to note there are resources available to anyone who's suffering in a mental health situation. Of course, if it's an emergency, you can dial 911, but for non-emergency situations, you can always reach out to your local hospital or one of those resources listed on your screen right there. The judge in the George Floyd murder case has decided Derek Chauvin will face trial alone in March. In a ruling filed Monday, a judge cited the physical limitations of the courtroom during the pandemic as a reason to split up the trials of the 4 former officers involved in Floyd's case. Chauvin is charged with second-degree murder and second-degree manslaughter. Now let's go ahead and check in with Matt Hines tonight. Matt, that snow's really melting.
It is. It's almost gone. Maybe a few patchy snow areas on shady areas, but other than that, that is going to be a memory. And what we are dealing with right now are a couple of little sprinkles trying to make their way to the surface. And I say little sprinkles because this is a lot more bark than bite, folks. We'll zoom in here along I-35 from Waco down through Bruce Valetti, Temple, Troy, and over to about Harker Heights. We are seeing a few showers, but a lot of this is falling from a cloud base way a few thousand feet above us. And as it makes its way into the drier atmosphere, a lot of it is evaporating before reaching the ground. So again, you may see a few sprinkles from this from time to time over towards Centerville, Madisonville, Franklin, Hearn, Rockdale, Cameron, but I don't think we're going to be seeing too much of this hit the ground, as this area of disturbed weather is pretty much moisture starved as it continues to lift off toward the northeast and across our region. Part 2 of this, well, when the clouds clear later on tonight, will we see any fog? It is possible as we head toward the morning hours. We may get those visibilities down to 1 to 3 miles. Temperatures will be around freezing again, so can't rule out a little freezing fog. I don't think it'll be like what we saw this morning, but we will be seeing some potential out there for some fog as we make our way into the afternoon or into the morning hours tomorrow, clearing out in the afternoon. Look at that. There's the high clouds there, but notice those clouds are way up there in the atmosphere, and again, anything falling from those having a hard time getting to the surface. So a few clouds out there, 50 degrees, and it looks like winds are out of the southeast at 3 miles per hour. Very light winds across the region. And as we check out what we are expecting in our future track for this evening, the clouds are around, and notice this is showing a couple just very spotty showers east of I-35 through midnight, so not a lot of this reaching the ground. Then it's out of here as we push into Wednesday afternoon, and sunshine will be around for us here. As we check out temperatures, it is going to be a chilly one. We'll be down into the upper 20s and lower 30s in the morning. Again, none of this precipitation will be falling when we hit temperatures this low. And again, a little patchy fog can't be ruled out here and there. Then tomorrow, hey, it's going to warm up a bit more. Highs will be into the low to mid 50s east, upper 50s central, lower 60s west. And we will continue to see warming conditions on into your Thursday. And we'll see that here in your 10-day forecast. There's your 58 up to 61. Now, the winds will shift to the north late on Thursday. That's going to bring some cooler air in as we head into Friday, but not overly cold. 58 degrees for a high, 61 Saturday. Sunday, one of those days we're just going to have to wait for the models to get a little more in tune with each other, as some have some pretty good showers, others keep it drier. So we'll go middle of the road, slight chance of showers, highs around 50. We'll continue to track that for you. Monday for MLK Day, not looking bad, 56 degrees. And then by Tuesday and Wednesday of next week, our next storm system. And the models are really struggling with the timing and how much precipitation we'll see. So right now, all liquid, upper